have done a lot of things which are very innovative. And through this journey of 24 years with Portland Public School, that's exactly how long we've been in business. I was going to go through how they transitioned from on-prem to the cloud, to the web-based application, to the cloud. What are the benefits? What are the reasons? How they benefited from that? How and what made that the journey so special for them? So started in year 2000. So exactly 24 years ago. They had an RFP out. They wanted a system that at that time, now you guys will think, hey, this is, it's easy stuff. We do this all the time. But their requirement was they wanted a system that would interface with PeopleSoft. They have a PeopleSoft financial system. And Facility Center is, again, there's a little bit of a history. It is the client-server version of TRIRIGA. It was before TRIRIGA acquired the software in 2002. So initial 4 or 5 years, TRIRIGA kept supporting Facility Center. Here, I have a customer here, Askander, who's from World Bank. He also used Facility Center. Very simple to use Power Builder application. You couldn't do anything, no customizations. So we are going back to that. They some of the highlights, and I'll go through this. They moved to the cloud and I'll go through this. In 2000, when they issued the RFP, as I said, they wanted a bi-directional link to Facility Center TRIRIGA. And the whole idea was that the materials were acquired in PeopleSoft. They wanted to tag the material and send it over and attach it to the work order and send it back into Facility Center TRIRIGA. And on the other hand, also pull data, which is the people, the technicians working there, the labor costs, because this is union labor. They actually paid the union labor, the technicians through what the time cards they enter into TRIRIGA, and which goes into PeopleSoft to cut their checks. Again, keep in mind, year 2000. So I would say it was quite innovative at that time. I pulled this out from a document I had 24 years ago that shows the flow of facilities modules, employees, their PeopleSoft HRMS system, their payroll. So this was all delivered to them as part of the implementation 24 years ago. Again, just keep that perspective of how, I actually entered them in the longest journey for the TRIRIGA Awards, but they were obviously, we didn't make it for that. In 2002, they started off on a journey of actually getting all their 1,300 CAD drawings into the system, using the CAD integrator, attaching them. That was about 8 million square feet. That streamlined the management of these drawings and related data. They were incorporated into the facilities management process. They moved on with the same system till 2009. TRIRIGA at that time was retiring the client-server application and moving into the cloud. It was called TRIRIGA 9. You guys are on TRIRIGA 11.5 now, 11.6. So TRIRIGA 9, essentially, we had to rebuild the whole application. It was like implementing a new application. And in those days, it was 2 databases. Like you guys are struggling now with one database which has all the associations. We had 2 databases. We had a meta and data, and we had to connect both of them. So anyway, it was a real struggle. But we had to move all the customizations, reattach the drawings, implement the PeopleSoft and TRIRIGA interfaces with the TRIRIGA APIs using Business Connect, and and then move. That's what transitioned them into the web version. And this is where this is what created the complexity. From a client-server application, which is like you kick the box and it would work, to now we have a real enterprise application. Needs a lot of support from the database administrators, and they were struggling. They were struggling with the fact that they could not keep the system up and running. In fact, they were down for a couple of months at one point because they lost their DBA. So that's what prompted them to move into the cloud. And at that time, there was no IBM cloud. So it was our cloud in our private cloud that we transitioned them into. And we also at that time upgraded them to 10.3. Now, this connectivity really impacted their field technicians. As I said, there were 100 schools. The technicians had to go out to these schools with the work orders. They would come back, print them out, take it out, come back. So there was a lot of productivity lost in that transition. So that's where when we were looking at, they were looking at the cloud, they were looking at the SaaS offering. The standard offerings are, you got a production, non-production. How many are in IBM Cloud right now? Okay, and what about in any private cloud with any partners? Anyone? Okay, yeah. Askandar, yes, he's on our cloud, that's why. So it really, what cloud-based applications really became popular at that time. Initially, they were called not SaaS, but application as a service. So our first offerings we started the cloud back in 2012, they were application as a service. So we would, and what was provided was, 24/7 help desk, backups, scanning, intrusion, monthly reporting. We use the SOC certifications of the data centers that it was coexisting in. Moved on to getting actually SOC 2 Type 1 compliance for the TRIRIGA application. Now, what we are doing with the cloud as we progressed is a fully integrated eCIFM centralized IT service desk, which is Zendesk. We assign a success manager, IT manager, monthly services meetings, and the big difference is that our SLAs are tailored to the customer's need. So if a customer has a certain need, we tailor it based on that. We also carry IBM. A lot of our clients are in the IBM cloud. And in the IBM cloud, you don't have that flexibility. You get what IBM provides you. And, and so in this case, we have the flexibility of, doing meeting your requirements. So that's what initially at that time, there was nothing in terms of a cloud offering. And so they moved to the SaaS-based solution. What this cloud provided was now the ability to connect to the application through from any location. So any of their locations, they didn't have to come back and they implemented, we explored with them a couple of options. One was, hey, do we put a web-based, like what now you have UX, again, now we're talking about 12 years ago. So front-end, web-based front-end, or so that they can go look at the work orders, complete the work, or build a custom application, or use the mobile. And at that time, we also launched our mobile, which is eCIFM OTG, and they were the first adapters of the mobile application. And down the road, we have a number of customers like World Bank, Northwestern, Minnesota, so you name it, using the mobile application, which is truly an application, not a UX framework, but built on a UX framework at the underneath so that we can get data. And I'll go a little bit into that. Now, what this offered is they really were able to access. So what the cloud really did is gave them the freedom of accessing TRIRIGA outside their central office in Portland. And this is a big improvement for them. It increased their efficiency, provide easy access to the work orders, allocating materials, tools, parts, assets. And this was delivered initially only on the Android tablets. There was a lot of resistance initially from the technicians because Again, 12 years ago, they didn't want to adapt to any technology. But the fact that they could get the data when they needed it, but the best part was they were able to complete their work orders and complete their time cards and get paid. Now, if people talk about change management, I think this is the biggest success story from a change management perspective, because if they did not enter their time cards, they did not get a check. So we found that they really took to the application, because now they had to get their paycheck, right? So that's what I tell people. I said, if you want people are not using the mobile, get them to make sure that your paycheck is tied to it. A little bit on the mobile, which really helped them, and is the ability. So mobile applications, are tied. You have a middle server. A lot of either you are with the UX, you're going in directly. You always use a license when you're doing that. The other concept is you use Business Connect, have a separate database. It pushes all the data there. Then you connect to that Business Connect application, and so your data sits in a repository in between. But what our concept was to have no middleware and no separate server, so that the data, you could connect directly to TRIRIGA and not have a middleware, because that way the syncing. So what we took is the framework from UX applications, which the OCLC, and using that framework, built the application, put a local database on the device so the data can be stored and you can work offline, which is critical for someone like Portland Public School. They wanted the work. They were working in basements. They wanted connectivity. They didn't want to lose their work. So all those things were taken into consideration. So this will work seamlessly, whether it's on-premise or SaaS. We then built a code base, one code base for iOS. As I said, initially it was only Androids and had to be tablet. Had 4 different versions. If it was, tablet had a different version. The whole, progression was one code base, so you can access it from multiple devices. Does not matter what it is, and so that was key. Data downloaded and available even when the internet is offline. Responsive app, so that when you turn the device, it changes its orientation. And then unified user experience for our applications. The application access is provided by the administrator, so they can go in. These are device-based licenses, so you can go in and select which device is going to access it. Using MDM, you can push this out to different all your users, and so that they have the latest and greatest. We have Northwestern is using all their technicians. They moved from Famous. And when they moved from Famous, they had a mobile application. And what they did is they would keep all the work orders on their devices for 30 to 60 days. So this was a replica. Once they moved to TRIRIGA, this was the replacement of what was being provided by Famous with their mobile application. So security features, biometrics, single sign-on, native features, camera, barcoding, notifications, voice to text. The configurations of the mobile device, the whole idea was to keep the application in such a way that you're not touching TRIRIGA. So if you want to upgrade, if you have a UX application, you upgrade, as part of the upgrade, you have to upgrade the UX application also. You have to bring that customization. Our intent was keep the mobile separate, like a mobile app, and have the TRIRIGA application independent, so you can upgrade. And the mobile application gets upgraded every 6 months. You just download from the App Store. If you go into the App Store, you'll find, just type in eCIFM and you'll see the mobile application. It'll not let you connect because you need the license key. So that was the whole thing. The only requirement being that the application version is 3.5, platform version is 3.53 or higher. That's the only requirement. So you can work with older version, newer version. Any questions so far? But again, this was only possible by putting the system in the cloud. And without that, it would be difficult to get the productivity they needed. We have actually got 3 patents on this, but the whole idea was to integrate directly, as I said, with the web APIs, and you can see there's some on Vedantics. They wrote all about the application, but these are some of the on the side. Seamless SaaS integration integrates with Maps, the Google Maps, documents with photographs, background syncing, customizations that can be done. So the way we do customizations is that you can, there are fields in TRIRIGA that we have a separate module. You can go make those changes, and it'll be reflected in the mobile application without rewriting the mobile code, because we have multiple customers, and to make sure that they are. So this is all started with Portland Public School. Since the early years. So the initial deployment were customized to align with the schools, districts' business processes. Extensive customizations led to tax connectivity to the database and performance issues. You will probably hear that, all day long. The team was able to determine the root cause, and basically what we had to do is to increase the efficiency of the system, reduce the customizations, and bring them back out of the box as much as we can. The transition to TRIRIGA's cloud-based platform, use of out-of-the-box functionality, direct integrations with mobile applications, addressed some of these connectivity issues. By leveraging the cloud, we were able to scale up the infrastructure, and as needed, instead of hitting limits, the REST APIs, rather than the diagram you saw, right, which were batch routines, became REST APIs. So once you're in the cloud, you're able to use technologies that enable you to create these real-time syncs between the technicians and the mobile application and the TRIRIGA system. Benefits, with a reliable access, the technicians, and being in the cloud, they could effectively update their work orders from remote field locations. This really increased their efficiency because they didn't have to come back to the field offices, print out, go back. Translated to more jobs being completed per day. Then real-time data from the field allowed central offices to keep an up-to-date visibility on resource planning, how many work orders they've completed, because they didn't have to wait for the paper documents to be entered so that TRIRIGA could be updated. Again, obviously now we have UX applications that could do similar things, but this is what was happening 8-9 years ago. The enhanced connectivity reduced the overall infrastructure and middleware needs. There were less complaints from the technicians. Field technicians were held accountable, and that's how the district gained trust from the staff. So that, again, this is so they also moved into doing inspections. Again, they wanted all the condition assessment to be done in TRIRIGA. They upgraded the application. They streamlined the inspections, facilitated reoccurring maintenance, and provided real-time data access. In 2017, they loaded up all RS-Means data with and so that way they could do more proactive facilities management with regular inspections and maintenance. The application's instant flow of data, accelerated decision-making, and responsive times, which is crucial for addressing urgent maintenance needs and ensuring the safe environment for the PPS users. Any questions so far? And I hope I didn't put everyone to sleep here.
I'm with Chick-fil-A. On the previous slide, you had one of the transitions was not using a middle layer for the APIs. How, it was in the one that you just went back from. Sorry, the next one, I think it is.
Next one here?
Or no, sorry, one more. No, maybe one, yep, there.
Okay.
Yes, there it is. The enhanced connectivity at lower costs. So for removing the middleware and having more of like a direct API approach, how are you making sure that that's not straining the system with performance in cases of like, large payloads or things like that? Something that we've run into oftentimes is with direct APIs hitting our system. If it's a large amount of data, we see significant performance impacts. So that's why we've been using middleware.
Yeah. So what we're doing is that, we have custom queries. So you only fetch the data that you want. So that way you're not straining the system. So there's a little bit of fine tuning when the system goes live. Like one of our clients, they went live and they had 40,000 assets, and it really strained. The first day, in UAT, they did not test it out with 40,000 assets. But then one day they decided, okay, we're going to go live, and 40,000 assets, 40,000 rooms, all showing up. So we had to then tweak, because when you're hitting these calls, the queries that they were hitting, we built, we have queries that can be adjusted. So you only get the data that you need. Okay, so hey, I'm working in this building, so I only need data assets for this building. If I'm working, if I'm in this building here, I don't want all the assets, but because it's critical to have the assets, if you want to work in a true offline form, you need the assets on your mobile device. You need your properties on the mobile device. But if you have Chick-fil-A is a very large organization, you got thousands of stores. Now, if you were downloading all of that, it's going to strain the system. So if I'm in this building, right, then you're just focusing on only fetching that data, and that's how you fine tune it. Yeah, so we actually have there's a whole, like a wizard. You set up these different queries and say, hey, this is the data I want to display for my calls. So, yeah, welcome. Anything else, guys? Another good question. That's really, it's one of the really great features and challenges also. So we were down at the 2016 in using condition assessment. They actually hired a third-party company to go and do all the condition assessment, so they could go to these different locations. Again, being on the web was really important, so that they could be at these locations uploading the data and of all the conditions of all the assets that they were collecting and feeding the system. They also, in between, embarked on building an application for reservation, which is called civic use of buildings, which means that every basketball court they own, they could rent these out. And so they use that to make reservations for these, not just for rooms. It was not for rooms, it was just for basketball courts. So I just wanted to go back to my first slide here. All right, so this is kind of lays out the whole timeline. We talked about the implementation of Facility Center, migration to the CAD migration, the conversion from Facility Center to the client server version in 2009 to the web-based application, moving into the cloud in 2012, that enabled us to deploy mobile applications. They then upgraded and implemented inspections for the conditions. That's the condition assessment. So they could go to different sites and do the assessments using mobile applications. RS means configurations and FCA implementation, which is condition assessment. This is the 2018 interface to civic use of buildings, where they are making reservations for spaces like your gyms, your classrooms, for PTA meetings. So you can actually go and reserve it. When you make a reservation, they check your insurances. They charge you, they'll charge you a fee for that. And so it's a full-blown reservation system, and they call it CUB, Civic Use of Buildings. In 2019-22, upgraded to version 10.53, 10.8 after that. And then now we are moving, we've done move management implementations. And then the latest one is to actually start implementing capital projects. So it's really, I've actually grown with this, right? It's been like we've been in, right from the beginning to when I was working with Peregrine with TRIRIGA, getting them selected, to actually supporting them through. So I've really treasured this implementation and this partnership with Portland Public School as one of the memorable journeys of how someone has moved from a client-server application and gone through the journey. And they've actually, been pretty innovative. The fact they've adopted the SaaS, they've adopted the mobile right ahead of time. So I'm sorry my co-presenter could not be here, but any questions I can answer. All right, and let's go get some beers then.